Just finished building this jig that holds my domino to my MFS, and this allows me to read my scale here. My original version, I didn't really care for it because it was reading on the what I think is the wrong side of the numbers. This way I can slide my tool along the rail and pick up, 77, and then if I'm going this direction, that's 77 or 770, I guess, and then 771, 2, 3, 4 up to 780, or 78 centimeters plus the millimeters in between, the 10 millimeters in between. But you can see here how easy this is able to move along the track, the extrusion. Then just hold it in, once I reach my mark, let's just say I want to mark it here on 68. 68's a long line right there. Turn these thumb wheels and just snug it up. I mean, it doesn't have to be cranked down super tight, but there it is. It's held in place. And now I can plunge. Let me slide this over a little bit here. Hang on a second. So now I can plunge and know that this thing, if this is locked to my work with the quick clamps underneath, this is going to put a domino exactly where I want it on the line and on my mark. So I can make marks in the field, whichever direction I need to go. Plunge, slide down the line, go to my next mark, whatever. And I've tried it out, and it works beautifully. So let me show you. I'm going to make another one here for my woodpecker story stick. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'll cut the pieces, and then we'll come back and put her together. And I have templates that I created in SolidWorks and then converted them to PDFs and printed them out. And all I'm doing here is I've got my center lines for where these holes are to be drilled to mate to the domino, and these two lines down here represent the thickness of this piece that mounts on top of the extrusion. So I'm just lining this up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to pay attention to the bottom line. That's the most critical one. I want to make sure it's square too, but there I'm going to be just seeing the line. I'm not going to worry too much about being absolutely perfectly centered. What I'm more concerned about is following this line down here, making sure that I'm parallel to this cut. And incidentally, I'm going to mark an X here as the bottom and put an X. Well, I'll know which one is the bottom because the location of the holes are near the bottom. Alright, so I'll cut this. And to keep pressure down on that block, and just lift the paper off like that. And I didn't get a clean cut on this side. I gotta recut this one. Still had some pieces hanging out there. There we go. Had to trim that off. Okay, so that's how that's gonna go made up to this piece. Just like that. And I'll use this corner as my square corner. So I'll get my glue stick, glue this down, do the same thing for the other part, and we'll go from there. I've got one thing I forgot to mention is if you're interested in these PDFs that I have, I can email them to you if you get your email address to me. Then I'll reply and give these to you. It's just 2 PDFs. They fit on standard sheet of paper. I'm going to drill the holes out and I'll come back and show you how they go together. Okay, I got my piece mounted to my extrusion and just lightly tighten these up, and then I pull this away because what you want is you want to see this drop just a little bit, which it did. So that's good. So you can see that drop, just dropped on the one side, but like still, if I bring it up parallel, I can't put it back on. So I want that to be falling down basically on top of this. And the other thing is, when I tighten these up, I want this to be just slightly back from the edge of the extrusion, because I want the tool to register against this edge, and I want this to, you know, fall down on that and make that so that it's going to be a positive mate there. So that's what I'm looking for. I've got exactly what I want, and then I can flush these up when I put the glue on, and then I'll tighten these up like so. And I'll just let it sit there. I'll let the glue, and I can feel that little bit of lip there, which is fine. I'll make sure that I'm tight here and that it's down to my flat surface. That's the other thing, you want to find a nice flat surface. One other thing I'll mention to you here, I'll take this off here real quick because I got to put glue on it anyway, but you're going to get a little glue squeeze out in here. Put some wax on your fest tool, your domino, so that when it squeezes out it won't stick there, because you have to leave it sit for about a half an hour at least to get a good bite. Okay, that's all the glue I need. I don't need a lot. So I got this pushed up here. I'm going to let this drop on. Give it a little rub. Get some squeeze out there. We're just doing a little friction fit. Now I'll put these in. And you don't want to crank them, just snug it up. Just to hold it in place, that's all. There, now I'm just making sure that I'm pushed back tight to the extrusion, which I am. And I'm flush right here with the sides, which I am. That's it. I'm going to let that sit for a half an hour or so. Let that glue get a good bite on it. And then let me grab my other one and show you what you need to do. You're going to want to put some dominoes in there to reinforce that joint. So all that glue is doing is just holding that together so that you can push those dominoes in there, and then that'll really hold it firm and give it some good strength. So the 3 dominoes, you're going to get some blowout. You can see here, this is my one for my Festool one. You're going to get some blowout here. No big deal, because that's going down on the extrusion this way, so you can't really, you won't see it, and it doesn't hurt anything at all or affect the way the jig works. So we'll let that cook and then we'll come back.